As Celia said, my name is Emily Litchfield. I'm the Director of AmeriCorps State and National Programming for the state of Arizona. In office is in the Governor's Office of Youth, Faith, and Family. So I'm really happy to be here today and talk about probably the most exciting thing that you didn't know you needed to know about. And I am so happy that so many of our programs are on board today to be able to share about the awesome opportunities that are within the state of Arizona. So I'm going to start off with kind of a broad overview. What is AmeriCorps? And what does it mean for service? I'm going to try and play this video. We had some technical difficulties this morning, so we'll see if this works.
This is your moment to take.
Okay, we may have a little bit of a lag, so we'll give it just one more second and see if that works.
This is your moment to take the path less traveled, to break the status quo, to stop talking about the problem and be the solution. This is your moment to create your own future, to bring people together and seek common ground. This is your moment to make our country safer, smarter, and healthier. You can inspire a kid to a brighter future, build a house for a family in need, or rebuild a community after disaster. Work in the wilderness to protect our public lands. Help a veteran find a home, a job, or a mentor. This is your moment to shape the future. This is your moment to be the greater good. Join AmeriCorps.
Okay, so at the end of the video there was the website joinamericorps.gov. Oh, hold on. Let me go back here a little bit. Out of order. Okay, and all of the program listings are there for folks to breeze through, and we'll talk about what each of those program listings are. From a broad overview, AmeriCorps is mandated in federal statute. So there is a federal agency that oversees AmeriCorps funding throughout all 50 US states as well as the territories. I am definitely in the wrong state when I could be in Puerto Rico or the Virgin Islands, but I love Arizona too, right? The mission of the Corporation for National and Community Service that oversees the funding is to improve lives, strengthen communities, and foster civic engagement. And the way that they do that is through a few different programs: AmeriCorps State and National, AmeriCorps Vista, AmeriCorps NCCC and FEMA Corps, and then also AmeriCorps Seniors. And on the next few slides, we'll talk about each of those projects individually. So AmeriCorps is rooted deeply in the tradition of service in the US. Really, the roots begin in the 1930s with the Civilian Conservation Corps and the idea that folks needed to get back to work, and a way that we could do that was to engage individuals in service in government-funded opportunities. In 1961, the Peace Corps was developed, and not long after, AmeriCorps Vista was envisioned. And a lot of times you'll hear folks refer to AmeriCorps Vista kind of as the domestic Peace Corps. So it's a lot of the same elements of serving communities and thinking about sustainability, but doing it right here in the U.S. In 1969, the AmeriCorps Seniors programs were developed. At the time. They were known as foster grandparent and senior companion programs only, and then later have come under the AmeriCorps umbrella. And that occurred in 1993 with the passage of the Domestic Services Volunteerism Act under President Clinton. It created the federal agency where all of these programs came together with a focus on service and volunteerism, and it also created that name AmeriCorps and the AmeriCorps state and national members. In 2009, the project was renewed through the Serve America Act and a few additions there. And then most recently, in 2020, the Commission on Military, National, and Public Service issued their Inspired to Serve report. And it talks about the importance of service to the community, and encourages all Americans to serve the community in some way. The largest recommendations being either through military service or national service with AmeriCorps. And Celia, do you have those links from earlier today? Would it be possible to share those in the chat box?
I can definitely do that, Emily.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So I want to start by looking at our AmeriCorps state and national programs. Our AmeriCorps state and national members eligibility requirement first is that folks are ages 17 and over. And really, you know, you could be, I don't know, 90, 100 and serving as an AmeriCorps state and national member. Our AmeriCorps state and national folks are really focused on direct service activities. So those are one-on-one or small group interventions where you as a member are going to be making a direct service impact on the community. Things like tutoring or mentoring in schools, repairing trails, or working in public parks or national parks, helping people secure jobs or secure housing. In the upper corner there are some members who are participating in building a community garden, and oftentimes building that community garden will involve some education component, either with other residents in the neighborhood or with school children. The AmeriCorps state and national programs provide opportunities for both full and part-time member positions. So there's a lot of flexibility for folks who are maybe still enrolled in college or even as seniors in high school to serve, as well as folks who would like more of a full-time position. All members in this program qualify for a living allowance, and some members may qualify for medical benefits and childcare and other benefits that might be either program dependent or position dependent. So our medical and childcare benefits are for full-time serving members. At the end of the term of service, all members receive a Siegel Education Award, and that value of that award is based on the number of hours that you serve. I believe right now the minimum award is around $1,600, and the maximum is a little over $6,000 for those full-time positions. And the Siegel Education Award can be used to repay student loans. It can be used for pursuing new post-secondary education opportunities, as well as some vocational opportunities and certificate programs. So it's a great bonus, just over $1,200. Thank you very much, Melissa, for that correction. The other kind of neat thing about the Siegel Education Award is if you are an AmeriCorps state and national member that is over the age of 55, you can actually gift that Siegel Education Award to a child or grandchild for their education or repayment of student loans, which is kind of a really neat thing to be able to do to support the next generation. And then later in the during the breakout room session, some of our programs will talk more specifically about what opportunities are here available in Arizona. Another AmeriCorps program that we have is called AmeriCorps Vista. It stands for Volunteers in Service to America. And I mentioned earlier that this project actually started in 1964 under President Kennedy and has been going ever since. Vista members have to be, again, 18 and over. And the difference for this is that these members are focused on indirect service, capacity building, and project-based work. For example, you might, as a Vista member, be recruiting and managing community volunteers for a local organization. You might also be doing some enhancements to those volunteer programs, such as developing new policy and procedure manuals, bringing the application process online, and other really exciting things like that. You might do some fundraising or donor outreach. Maybe you are developing a social media campaign, building a new website, things like that that are going to really support the operational capacity of the organization and their ability to increase the services that they can offer in community. The Vista positions are either full-time, 40 hours a week, 5 days a week, or they also will offer some summer associate programs, which are great for younger folks who maybe are still in school, and those are full-time over just the summer, so from like May through August timeframe. Our Vista members also earn a living allowance. They might qualify for medical and child care benefits, and then also they receive the Siegel Education Award. Or something special to Vista members is that in lieu of that education award, they can request a cash stipend. I always encourage folks, if it makes sense, to do that education award, because the cash stipend is about a third of the value of the education award. So you get just a little bit further, but sometimes that cash stipend makes more sense for Vista applicants. Our NCCC and FEMA Corps projects are really cool. NCCC stands for National Civilian Community Corps, and this really is based off of those projects, the Civilian Community Corps that started in the 1930s. These are full-time, team-based residential service opportunities for folks who are 18 to 26 years old. And what I mean by residential is that you will be assigned to one of 4 campuses: Denver, Sacramento, Vicksburg, or Vinton, Iowa. I've never heard of Vinton, Iowa. And you will go to one of those locations and get a couple of weeks of training, and you'll be assigned a team, and you and your team of between 10 and 14 individuals will travel around that region working on different projects. You might be harvesting grain or helping on a farm. You may be painting houses like the folks here in the center, or doing some upkeep, building maintenance, things like that. Some MCCC members will participate in after school or summer projects. They'll build trails. Really, there's such a variety with those MCCC projects, but you are traveling around different states, and it's a new thing every 6 to 12 weeks, which again can be kind of exciting. Members do receive living allowance during this time. They also have food and housing provided while they're in service. So as you're going from location to location, you might be housed in a college dorm or something like that with your team while you're working on that project. It's a pretty cool cool thing, I think, for especially that 18 to 24 age range. And then the last program is the AmeriCorps Seniors program. For this program, folks have to be 55 or over in order to select this opportunity. A lot of the service opportunities are direct service, tutoring and mentoring, helping seniors or persons with disabilities in their own home. There are some also capacity building opportunities through the RSVP project. So there's a wide variety of programs within AmeriCorps projects, excuse me, within the AmeriCorps Seniors as well. They have part-time positions, some full-time positions. There's also different benefits depending on what project you are working on. It could be a living allowance, sometimes also mileage reimbursement or other benefits through that program. One really cool story I like to tell, when President Obama was in office, I believe it was his second term of office, he actually brought one of the AmeriCorps senior volunteers to the White House to celebrate her service, and she was 104 years old, a foster grandparent volunteer, going to school every day, working one-on-one with the kiddos in the class, and they all called her grandma, and it was so heartwarming. And boy, she was just tickled to be at the White House and to be recognized for her years of service. And so I just love that story so much because it reminds us that really anyone can serve their community. Anyone, you, me, that person, all of us have opportunity to serve. And that's why we're here today, is to be able to share some of those opportunities. I also like to share the AmeriCorps Pledge when I talk about AmeriCorps and being a part of this awesome community. And it really reinforces that you're just not one single person or one small group of people with your local project in your city or town, but really part of a larger organization. Over 1 million people have served in AmeriCorps since its inception, and that's just AmeriCorps State and National, even more AmeriCorps Vista and NCCC members, and AmeriCorps Seniors. And so you're really part of a super awesome club that's much larger than just providing service to the community. So we have our AmeriCorps Pledge, that we're going to make people and communities safer, smarter, and healthier. We're going to take action. We're going to persevere in the face of adversity, and that we will get things done for our communities. And it's a wonderful thing to think that, you know, all across the U.S., there are so many people participating in programs just like yours and making a difference in their community just like you are. Here is the Arizona at a Glance report from 2020, and it just looks at the number of members serving. So our AmeriCorps State and National programs and Vista programs in Arizona had over 1,600 people complete their term of service during the year of 2020. And our AmeriCorps Seniors, almost 800 volunteers participated in those projects, which is really cool. We were seeing AmeriCorps members and volunteers serving in over 550 service locations across the state of Arizona. And there are opportunities in every single county in the state of Arizona, which I'm proud to talk about because not every state has AmeriCorps members serving in every county. So it's something uniquely special to us. Additionally, we saw about $24.5 million investment in our communities, and that's a combination of federal, state, and local funding that was coming into communities to support programs and AmeriCorps projects. Very cool. And you can read the full report. It looks like Celia dropped that into the chat box as well. I do want to talk a little bit about the focus areas, and that was really the impetus behind the way that we developed the breakout groups today. Is AmeriCorps focuses on 6 different areas of service. The first is disaster services. For a regular position, everyday position, that might be teaching emergency preparedness in communities, but we also have folks responding to disaster. For example, we actually had a couple of Arizona AmeriCorps members traveling recently to Missouri to help them set up their vaccine distribution points. We also have seen AmeriCorps members travel to assist with Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Sandy, different flooding disasters. So that can be really exciting in addition to your day-to-day services opportunities to respond to disasters. A number of programs focus on economic opportunity. Some examples of that: improving access to housing, improving job skills, and helping individuals secure employment. We have a lot of education programs here in Arizona, and those run the gambit from looking at tutoring and mentoring for young kids and helping them with their literacy. Also getting folks excited and engaged in STEM curriculum, math and science. And then lastly, opportunities to assist middle and high school students with accessing post-secondary education. That was really hard to say for some reason. We also focus a lot on environmental stewardship. A couple of programs focus on rebuilding trails, also working in national and state parks, remediating invasive species, and really making the parks available for folks to, for the community to enjoy. We also see a number of programs that are focused on water conservation and protecting our waterways. And as you can imagine, water and water conservation is a huge priority for Arizona. Healthy Futures project look at enhancing quality of life for homebound seniors, persons with disability, persons who are recovering from substance use disorder, and other things like that. We also look at opportunities and access to food and food insecurity under the Healthy Futures. And then lastly, a focus on serving veterans and military families. And the types of projects really overlap with some of the other issue areas, but then it's specifically targeting, in addition, veterans and military families to receive services. Before our last slide, I do want to make a little plug for the Arizona Summit on Volunteerism and Civic Engagement that will occur next week. This is an annual summit that we have been hosting since 2010. And for folks to just learn a little bit more about what it means to be a leader in volunteerism, what it means to participate in civic engagement. So there's the summit is coming up next week. It's free for anyone to attend, and we would love for folks to check out the website and register for some of those workshops. And now, without further ado, I will invite you all to meet the local programs and the I believe we have the criminal justice, there's a healthy futures, and the AmeriCorps Seniors, and then education and environment. Is that the correct breakdown, Celia?
Yes, so we are going to have 3 separate breakouts. One is the education environment, criminal justice is the second, and then we have a lot of great programs that overlap with Healthy Futures and AmeriCorps Seniors. So
great. So we'll just give 1 minute to see if anybody has questions, and if not, we can go ahead and start divvying people out into breakout rooms. I do want to thank everybody for being here today and for participating, and we're really excited to get you involved with national service.
If you're not sure how to raise your hand, but you want to ask Emily a question, just go ahead and type me in the chat box. To find your chat at the bottom of your screen, you should see a chat bubble. It says chat under it, just click on that.
Thank you, Emily.
You're so welcome.
yes, thank you.
Of course.
Well, it doesn't look like we have any specific questions coming in for general AmeriCorps things. We really appreciate you giving us such a robust and also a very brief AmeriCorps history. Could be quite long sometimes. So we really appreciate the very thorough overview that you provided to get us started to go into our rooms. So the way that the breakout rooms will work is you have indicated which subject area you are going into today based off of how you have named yourself using the rename function. I have already organized those. So when I open the rooms, your host in that particular room will get the presentation started. They will also be recording individual breakout rooms. So if you were interested in wanting to be in one or the other, do not fret. You will have access to the recording afterwards. And so we will make sure to send that out once they have all been collected and uploaded appropriately to share. If there are any other questions, you can please send those forward. But in the meantime, I will go ahead and open the rooms. I will be here as the host in the main room for the whole session. So if there are other questions or things, please go ahead and pop in and feel free to ask. All right. Thanks, everybody.